Good evening everyone and welcome to day 2 of the Paul Creevy Friendship Cup between South Africa and Australia. I'm joined again by an old-time friend and a partner in crime, Brandon Swart. Welcome.
AJ, thank you. Good evening. Always a pleasure sharing the box with you. Good to be here this evening.
Brandon, we had 2 very, very exciting games. Probably most people said it's one of the best starts we've had to this this week. What was your view on the way things went?
I tell you what, AJ, I did not expect what was delivered last night. 2 quality matches, and what I enjoyed so much about is how equal the contests were.
Yeah, I think that was something that we all noted. And if we look at the South African team sheet, Jared Campbell, one of the guys from Inland, big impact in the game as well. A lot of impetus up front, a lot of pace. Any other players here that you think stood out and look out for?
About to come up now, Idris Abdullah was very handy in the circle last night for South Africa, and I think Coach Devin van der Merwe will be relying on him today to create a little bit of something special.
Another player that's popping up, Cody Posthumus, the boy from Grey High. A lot of energy down the right-hand side, created a lot of opportunities. Another player, Peter Jarvis, scored the 2 goals, very influential in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you, AJ. There were just key moments last night, and you mentioned Cody Posthumus. Marvin Simons on screen, another one who I think the Australians really struggled to keep in check at times.
Matt Dewar, the captain from the Amatoli border region from East London. Ivan van der Merwe, head boy at Paul Roos, also had a really good game.
Standout player for me, AJ. Ivan van der Merwe was just so composed at the back, and I think he was a bit of a rock of Gibraltar for South Africa last night.
And you will see Stephen Conway from Kearsley, as well as Neil Roth, another one of Ivan's teammates at Paul Roos. Now the goalkeeper, Sishle Nkongu, who had some really, really good saves toward the end of that second half.
Sishle had a stunning second half last night, saving a penalty stroke as well.
Here we have the Australian team sheet. Jaden Atkinson starting. Caleb Christensen, also known as Christo. Michael Doan had a really good game in midfield. Very difficult to close down, put a lot of pressure on the South African midfielders as well.
And Joshua Brooks coming up here, number 5. There he is on screen now. One of the goal scorers. In fact, he got that late equaliser for Australia to clinch the game. There's
Campbell Gieders, and within 30 seconds he slotted that penalty corner drag flick, and I think some of the defenders from South Africa would have been a bit worried after they'd seen that one come through.
Well, I must say, Campbell Gieders, AJ, I've had the privilege of touring a little bit around the world and seen some of the drag flickers on offer at this age, and I must say that was one of the best drag flicks I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the goalkeepers who was the goalkeeper that was in I think it was Tane Bird would probably agree with you in that. Also got Jay McDonald, guy from Radford College in the Australian Capital Territory. As well, Amon Smith, a boy from New South Wales. Kai Willett, also quite a bit of impetus up front, very difficult to tackle. Defenders might have had a little bit of a nightmare with him. Jed Snowden and Samuel Bell, that makes up the 18 of the Australian school sport team.
Right, so we've seen the teams this evening. We're going to go live now to the pitch where Jethro Eustace is standing by with Greneson Woodley.
Good evening all, I'm with Moodles, the SA assistant coach. Moodles, first game last night was actually pretty good. What did you take out of it?
I think that what was a big eye-opener for the boys in particular was the intensity at which the game was played. I mean, some of them first taste of international, actually probably the majority of them, and it was unbelievable for them to step up on such a big occasion. You know, a bit starry-eyed to start off with, playing in front of a big crowd. I don't think many hockey players get that opportunity in this country, but playing again, in front of a crowd of 1,000 people plus, which was fantastic for the boys. So we took a bit of time to settle, conceded early, but then really guys stepped up, and it was really, from a coaching point of view, really good performance from our boys last night.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you on that point, and it was showed all the way till the end. Moodles, just a few players that you've eyed out for us that will lead us into the second game and hopefully get a result for us.
I think that certainly we want to control a bit more ball in midfield, so I'm hoping that guys like Matt Dewar and Andre Bradford will spend some more time on the ball tonight, because they've really got a good attacking flair going forward. And if we can get those guys onto the ball, looking to set our forwards up high up the pitch, I think we'll produce some good outcomes from our circle entries. Probably one area we needed to improve on last night. A lot of circle entries, just needed some more outcomes out of them.
Yeah, agreed. And I wish you all the best, Moodles. Hope the boys play well, and all the best for this second test.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So that was Jethro Eustu with Crinison Moodley, assistant coach of the under-18 side. Crinison has been around for quite a while, so he adds a lot of experience and knowledge of the game to this under-18 side.
Yeah, AJ has. He's been part of the national school setup for probably the better part of the last decade. And this is certainly not the first campaign he's been involved with in terms of the Australians and South African boys. So he really brings a lot of experience to this campaign, and I think is a really good backup for Devin van der Merwe as the head coach.
And Devin as well has been around. He's played at a national level. So I think the South African and the 18 side, if we just look at them for a moment, are being looked after really well during this week and going forward.
Yeah, I don't think we could ask for a better combination currently than the two of the men who are in charge. And as you say, Devin van der Merwe, he's been around for a while, has attended the Junior World Cup with the under-21s in an assistant capacity. So the experience he brings at this level is second to none.
So we're about 8 minutes away from pushback. We'll have Anthem shortly, and then we'll be away for game number 2. And again, we were talking about the Paul Creevy Friendship Cup that was created 2 years ago, dedicated to Brother Paul. If you want to maybe chat a little bit about Brother Paul and his impact that he's had on the Australians coming to South Africa?
Yes, so Brother Paul Creevy, the Australians have been coming out since 2002 to South Africa, and Brother Paul's been part of all of that. And, you know, for South Africa, the relationship that was established is really important. I mean, obviously, you know, in terms of our economy and our sports, our ability to go beyond our borders at school level isn't really a viable option in the past. And so the willingness of the Australians to come to us, led by Brother Paul Creevy and School Sport Australia, has been really important. And in fact, I heard today that Brother Paul was actually watching live from Europe last night. So Brother Paul Creevy, if you're watching tonight, hello and welcome back to this game.
So we have a smaller highlights package of Sihle and Congo. There we see a
great save,
penalty stroke save last night. Picked the side.
So Sihle and Congo
Keeping down the line.
As well. He didn't look as if anything was going to go through for that period.
Yeah, it's good to see. I mean, this young man, Sihle and Congo, he's only 17 years old, and in fact, he's playing in front of his home crowd. He's a Pietermaritzburg boy. I've had the privilege of coaching him, and as you say, AJ, he came into this game last night and looked like he was made for it, which is really encouraging. I mean, he's worked hard. He's had some challenges in the past, so super stopper for South Africa.
And there we have the South African and Australian teams walking out.
Please welcome the players
ready for their anthems. They'll be introduced by a few, the captains will introduce a few dignitaries to them shortly, and then we'll have the national anthems.
Yeah, so the dignitaries you can see on screen closest to us was Lwandile Simelane, who is the Vice President of the South African Hockey Association. Those joined down on the field as well is Mr. Priscilla Naika from Awaz Old Mutual, as well as Josie Malela, who's on the South African Hockey Executive. And then Mr. Wendell Domingo is down there as well, the President of South African Schools Hockey.
Thank you.
And now we'll have the national anthems of Australia and South Africa.
Australians, all that must rejoice, for we are young and free. We golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land, the mountain nature's gifts of beauty.
have it, the national anthem of Australia, the Aussie fans in the crowd, really happy with that.
And again, another bit of 40-odd Australians that have travelled with the team, and it's really special for them to be singing it in front of their parents and family.
Certainly indeed.
And there we have it, Inkosi Sikeleli Africa being sung for the second time for some of these boys, wearing the South African school's badge on their chest, and it must be a proud moment for not only them but their friends, their family, and those people that we be watching around the world. We had guests from Canada, Belgium, New Zealand. We had folks in Australia that were up at midnight watching the game. So if you are around, and please let us know, share on, we've got Twitter, Facebook, on the YouTube commentary, as well as Instagram. Send pictures of where you might be watching from, hashtag SSL Hockey. Let us know, and we'll read those out throughout the day, throughout the evening, and let those players know. We're about a few minutes away from pushback, and again, it's a second game. We had a look at a very, very tight encounter. Again, 2 goals scored really late in the second half of the boys' game. What do you reckon would have changed last night coming into this game today, if there's anything that they would like to change?
Well, you know, AJ, the one thing that stood out for me, and I've chatted to a few people about it today, is I just think the Australians gave the South Africans too much space at the back last night. The Australians came out quite full, you know, really looking to put pressure on those 2 South African centre-backs, but they just didn't convert into anything. You know, the placing was right, and if I look at Cody Posthumus and Tevin Peterson, they just had too much space on the outside, and I think that's something that Australia are going to have to take care of tonight if they're going to really dominate the possession. I thought that's where the game was a little bit wide open last night in terms of a bit of double turnovers in that possession.
And the game was played at a frantic pace, and South Africa's got lots of leg pace in that team. So you don't want to give them that extra space. Looking at South Africa. I mean, obviously, penalty corners is going to be something that they're going to want to limit with Campbell Giddes on the top. What else do you reckon something that they might change, or they might really have to focus on a little bit more that they didn't get right yesterday?
Well, I think so. I mean, and I think Crenesse Moodley alluded to it in the interview. Just a little bit more concrete work to the midfielder. I mean, we've got 2 quality game changers there, I think, in Matt Dewar and Jared Campbell. And I think South Africa are going to want to try and maybe just move that ball through them a little bit more, just to mix it up a bit.
And there we go. We have pushback. Australia playing in the green and gold from left to right on your screen, and South Africa playing with the white with the yellow socks, playing from left to right on your screen. Australia with the ball high in the left-hand channel. Reverse stick ball straight into the circle. Keeper making a good save, and South Africa looking to clear that ball out the side.
So I see Coach Devin van der Merwe has gone with Tane Bird again, so probably the same thoughts as last night. To be interesting to see if they give each keeper a half, or whether it's going to be game for game now. But here's Campbell coming up the flank for South Africa, finds the foot.
Again, a player that Australia will probably not want to see have the ball much.
Oh, he finds Jarvis, really nice at the top of the circle. Back out wide to Campbell, who's going to look to drive this right baseline. Circle entry, but easily cleared by Australia.
South Africa with a sideline hit.
That's Bradford on the ball, who again, Coach Cronesen Moodley said they would like to be seeing a little bit more of him in that South African midfield. Van der Merwe, he finds Posthumous. That's Subi Magwira, another local boy on screen.
Again, we notice as soon as those drives come through midfield, at 45-degree drives, Australia are onto it soon, trying to put those players under pressure immediately.
So I see Australia immediately going to a back three here. Or, no, actually, in fact, they're just trying to get a bit of width.
Jay McDonald on the ball just outside his 25. A nice 45-degree ball to... That is Kai Wilmot in midfield, just a slight mistrap. He's going to find his...
So South Africa starting with the ball, building around the back. That's Dewar, the captain. He goes out to... Is that Winford? Oh no, that was Tevin Peterson.
Tevin Peterson on the ball to run.
Yeah.
Ivan van der Merwe on the ball now.
So again, Australia looking to cut those centre backs, but great lead there by Jarvis. Jarvis now on the ball with that free hit inside the 23.
Again, South Africa just trying to hold possession, trying to make sure they keep the ball, finding a player. Jarvis with a bit of skill in that area, lots of pressure, but again getting the ball away, lifted dangerously, and it's a 16 hit out to Australia.
So this is McDonald for Australia.
Out to Joshua Henderson.
Great turn. Is that Craig Murray? No.
Looks like Jaden.
That was Jaden Atkinson, it was, yeah. Sorry, for those of you who are watching live, we're just struggling to see some of the darker numbers on the Australian vest tonight.
Against Australia with the ball in that area, again feeding it out. They're trying to create a little bit more width. You'll see that both teams trying to get the ball across trying to use both channels of the field. And again, yesterday we saw both teams use that quite effectively, and that's what led to a nice open game of hockey being played.
Yeah, the game was definitely played well between the two sidelines, just opening up a lot of space across the field. And I mean, it is happening again tonight already. The Australians looking to build wide there. It's a turnover for South Africa now, who look to come out through Bradford.
And again, there's that pressure from the Aussies, from Australia, putting them under pressure in that corner.
I just think, AJ, though, I mean, there were 3 players on the ball, and again, South Africa still tried to find the outlets. I just think that's where Australia have to be a little bit more clinical. They've got to turn those pressure moments into opportunities.
And it looks at the moment as if they're maybe a step behind where they would like to be. And that's something that they're definitely going to chat about during this game, and something they're definitely they're going to improve throughout this game, and as soon as possible, hopefully for them.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously you see South Africa going with a similar tactic. I mean, there was Van der Merwe trying to get Posthumous higher up the line.
Posthumous with a nice aerial ball, trying to find Tevin Peterson or Luke Winford in the opposite side. Australia trying to build up through the right side channel. Again, Kai Wilmot finding the ball in midfield. He's touched the ball a few times today. He's trying to get the stick on, trying to get the confidence right. Again, there's a turnover and one again by Australia in midfield. And slowly they look to build up down the side. Joshua Henderson with some good strength on the ball, and a bad stick challenge there by South Africa, and Australia looking to build down the left-hand channel. Here we have Joshua Henderson again driving down the left-hand baseline. Dealt with wonderfully again by Jared Campbell. Even though he's an attacking player, he's doing his role in defense that quite well, which definitely is going to help this African team because the ball's going to move across the field quite quickly.
Yeah, Campbell, a very versatile player, so you know he'll be one of the key weapons in Coach van der Merwe's arsenal. So just a reminder again, for those of you who just tuned in, South Africa are playing in white tonight with the yellow socks and the Australians in their green and gold.
A bit more subdued start for the first 6 minutes compared to yesterday, which was completely frantic for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think an early goal also just, you know, creates a different type of start. And Australia last night, Australia already a goal up.
And for South Africa to obviously go on the attack and find that equaliser, which they did quite comfortably.
Yeah, it's been tentative stuff already in the first 5 or so minutes. Again, I think both teams will just be trying to find some rhythm, and you know, I would like to see both teams just try and keep possession for a little bit longer in these opening stages. Again, just to gain that rhythm, bit of that momentum.
Just to get a bit of a stronghold on the game. I think that's the important part, especially in a game like this when you're playing against an Australian side that is fairly clinical yesterday. Both teams will be looking to try and stamp their dominance as soon as possible. Matt Dew on the ball, looking for the big ball up front, not finding the space. Again, being patient and trying to just build something up from the back.
So it just looks to me to see that left centre back almost. The Australians seem to create a bit of a pocket. They're trying to encourage them to play into midfielder. Good turnover there. Oh, South Africa going to be penalised here for pushing the ball away after the card there. Matt Dew goes off for green. Let's see what the Australians can do with this. They get the circle entry. Oh, goalmouth spat. Still in possession, the Australians.
Miles Davis with the ball in the baseline, feeding it in, and Tevin Peterson there to clear the ball out.
So this is Luke Winford now, who's just found Tevin Peterson to create a bit of breathing space. The Australians again working hard to box him into this corner.
And
there's the turnover.
And that's what you've been alluding to, is that's the type of turnover that they want to be receiving there. And then again we see a quick midfield transfer opposite channel, and again that's the Aussies, the Australian team that we know that win the ball straight away, change the channel, and try and attack from the opposite D.
So again, South Africa get the break here. Some good composed defending by Ivan van der Merwe. Posthumus gives the big overhead. He's trying to find Jarvis upfield and does. Good receive by Jarvis. He's going to look to go forward on this baseline. Keeps the ball in. Bit of a defensive, striking area there by Idris Abdullah. Gives Australia the free hit.
But again, what we've noticed by that is Australia have filled the correct areas, and they seem to be filling the areas that they didn't fill, for especially that first goal that South Africa scored yesterday, where the man was open on the far post, and they were at a little bit at 6s and 7s at that point.
Right, so here's Australia looking to build it a little bit more through the back. I think that's Sam Bell on the ball.
Campbell Giddings feeding it into midfield.
Yeah, good spatial awareness here by the Australians. Good circle entry, but turned over by Subi Maguire. This is Tevin Peterson on the ball again. And you see the Australians, Josh Brooks cutting really hard there. This is going to be a good outlet by the South Africans. Posthumus has got space to get up. There he is on the ball now. And there's that speed we were talking about before the match. A really tricky one to keep under control.
Yeah, good tackle though, as well by the Australians in that space, knowing that once they let Cody Posthumus down on that right side, they're going to be under lots and lots of pressure. Campbell Giddings on the ball. to Jaden Atkinson. South Africa have stepped back to what seems like a half-court press. They're allowing Australia to have the ball in front of them. Connor Holland with a drive down the side in South Africa, making the tackle. Should be a long corner to the Australian team. Fade inside, and again Tevin Peterson dealing with the pressure well, and he's driving with the ball over the halfway line. Skipper Matt Dewar on the ball again. South Africa looking to hold onto the ball, trying to keep as much possession. We have Cody Posthumus running down the right side. That's the pace we were talking about earlier again. And that's just a small glimpse of what Cody Posthumus can offer as that high wingback type role that he plays on the right-hand side.
Posthumus not quite able to control it on the baseline there. Gives the ball to South Africa. This is Bell. Across to Campbell Geddes. No, sorry, they bypassed him.
And then we have a message from Lexi, hashtag SSL Hockey. Want to see another flick from Cam tonight. Watching from the USA. Thank you, Lexi. We hope you enjoy the game. Jamie Smith on our YouTube channel says, let's go SA boys. Watch out Marvin Simons and Angelo Wallström. Chisle and Congo will save the day again.
Thanks, Jamie. Wise words there.
And Colin Walker, the most effective striker for Oz. Thank you, Darren Walker. Jordan Sanders saying, let's go, Maddie. Backing you all the way, brother. SA, hashtag one team, one dream, hashtag Selborne College. Dirk Coetzee, sterkte Suid-Afrika. Julle was gister baie naby, doen dit vandag. Just to translate, strong South Africa, if I can directly translate. You were very good yesterday. It was a good game.
Today.
Do it today.
Do it today.
Yeah, that's our Afrikaans dialect for any of our foreign viewers.
Right, David Hubbard just turning the ball over there. That's Doan, the captain, looking to go forward now for Australia. Miles Davis on the ball. Craig Murray not quite able to control it there. Craig Murray really was a standout player for Australia last night, particularly clinical inside the circle.
So we see the two different presses that are being played. So Africa's allowing the Australian defense to have the ball, whereas Australia is boxing South Africa in on South Africa's left-hand channels. You can see the intent from both teams as we reach the 14 minutes gone in the first half. Aerial ball across from Tevin Peterson.
Ooh, really bad ball from Subi Maguire there. Allows Australia to dangerously attack the circle. But South Africa managed to come out.
And Subi Maguire trying to fix his mistake that he just had there by a good defensive cleanup after that 45 ball. And I think that's also what the Aussies are looking for. If you look at the space that they're creating and the areas that they want the ball to go in, that's where they actually want to make those turnovers.
Here comes Posthumus again down this right-hand flank. Finds the foot of Colin Walker. But the turnover, that's Walker losing possession there. Van der Merwe now for South Africa. He plays out to his captain, Dewar. Oh, good receive by Angelo Wallström. He's in the circle with space. Oh, great save on the line. Maguire picked up, no, Mapamulo that was who picked up the loose ball. Great defensive work by the Australians.
I think the keeper went out to try and close Angelo Wallström, and ball had popped out straight out, and the two defenders would see this ball through from Angelo Wallström picking it up. Keeper then coming to close on the ball. And then Pumla.
Nathan Zinner makes a great stick save on the line.
Nice and confident reverse save, which not many people are too confident doing.
It'll be interesting to see if Nathan Zinner is handy with a cricket bat. Maybe some of the Australian fans back home could let us know.
So if there's anybody from O'Connor Catholic College in New South Wales, let us know. We'll have a little wager to see what cricketer. He looks like he's a decent number 4 batsman. So if there's anybody from O'Connor Catholic College, let us know what Nathan Zinner's sports are. It will be very interesting now because, again, we've got a few multi-talented sportsmen on the field, and I think that's the beauty of the sport that we play, is that hockey, there's a lot of diverse sportsmen on the field from both teams.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of school sport, AJ. You know, not too many people specialising at this age. There's a call to it nowadays. But anyway, here come the Australians. This looks promising. Oh, great flick in.
So Colin Walker with a one-touch, diving one-touch when the keeper, Tane Bird, dealing with it quite comfortably.
If it's one area where I think the Australians, in terms of what we've seen now last night, just to check at this replay. Yeah, great work by Walker. Good save by Bird. As I was saying, if it's the one thing that I think Australia have got the edge in the South African team, it's just the work in the 9-yard area of the circle.
And again, when we looked at that replay, we saw two players in prime position for any scraps that might have come off Tane Bird's pads, and they were in that position there, ready to pick it off and put it in the back of the net. So here we see Colin Walker coming in, snapping. There we see a person on far post looking to get the ball in. So they're filling the right ears. And
Yes,
just as
Marvin Simmons, Mapamulo.
I think
Shot goes wide.
I think it's just one touch too many, and the ball, that extra touch just meant that it closed his angle down. He had Angelo Wallstrom on the far post, just that first touch again. But again, we look at the difference between the two. Shot on target on the other side, circle entry by South Africa on this side, and unfortunately nothing to trouble the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And I think also the one thing that was a feature of last night, and we've seen it now twice in the last 2 minutes, is the counter-attack ability of both teams. And I think that's going to be a game breaker as the series goes on.
And that was also the first little sign of intent from both teams when there was a bit of space given. And they say Samuel Berend, I versus Nath is a backyard cricket, and he can hit it over the house, but cannot bowl to save his life. So thank you, Samuel, for solving that for us. So unfortunately, Nathan Sisner, at least he did really well in the goal box, saving that. So
I must say, AJ, backyard cricketers are where the next pros are made. So well done, Nathan Sisner.
And thank you, Samuel, for that bit of information. Again, if there's any other information.
Oh, goal for Australia. That came out of nowhere. A little bit of space at the top of the circle, and it looked like it went maybe through Tane Bird.
I think that was Craig Murray. And as we mentioned that, I mean, we're talking, and again, it's an opportunity. Here we see the replay. Ball coming into the circle.
Craig Murray it is. And through the legs of Bird, unfortunately, he won't be too happy with that. We spoke just now about how clinical Craig Murray is in the circle, and there is evidence of that. Well done, Australia. 1-0 up with 16 minutes to play.
And again, I think each team's had fairly equal opportunities at goal, equal circle entries. And although now Australia is the team that's 1-0 up at this moment. Peter Jarvis with the ball.
Stephen Conway, the goal scorer for South Africa last night. That's Finlay winning possession. He's going to look to get this going nice and early. Trying to find Mapamulo, but no one home. But the recycled ball is going to go to Posthumous. Posthumous finds Peterson on that wide flank. Long ball through. Speculative. No one quite there on the receive. So interesting enough, going back to Craig Murray, I was in the commentary box with Jethro Eustace last night, AJ, and we were saying at one point Murray is a distinctly South African surname. And again, we found out shortly afterwards that Craig Murray's father is a South African and played for South Africa himself.
Well, it's good to see that the... and a straight ball coming in, and unfortunately just a little bit too far from Luke Winford going into the yes, you know, and it's nice to see that the sons and daughters of former national players are continuing and playing. We chatted about Matt Dewar as another player, and it's really, really good to see Craig Murray, even though he's in another adopted nation now, but it's really good to see that talent coming through in another international team.
Yeah, and even this man on the ball, Cody Potchmus, his mom was a national player herself.
And Chantal Posthumous is here, and avid supporter of her son, of hockey in general. And yes, and that's where his passion and ability comes from as well. Again, Australia looking to move forward.
Great tackle by Joshua Brooks. But Muguera is still in position. Oh, look at that double teaming by the Australians. It's hunger for the ball that they seem to be a little bit more intent tonight.
I was chatting to Cindy last night, and she was saying that something about the Australian teams in general is how their ability to hunt in packs. And there's a prime example of it.
This is a good ball. Peterson's received it wide and high up the line. Still in possession. Ball in. And he's won the penalty corner. Umpire Chad Fourie just a little bit unsure whether that had hit the foot inside the circle. But his co-umpire Chris Gabber pointing to the penalty corner mark. So South Africa have a great opportunity here.
Well, we saw yesterday that we had Cody Posthumus, Peter Jarvis on top. We didn't see many other variations in the game, but those are the two that they would most likely look at from the top of the castle.
Yeah, so Devin van der Merwe, the coach, will be glad to have his two frontline options here. So that's Jarvis on the first castle and Posthumus on the second. I think I'm going to go with Peter Jarvis here. I think that could be the call. So this is Conway on the injection. Goes to Posthumus's castle. Oh, and it's come off the Australian player on the post. Advantage played. PC.
Lots happening there. Cody Posthumus with a flick, keeper saving it, deflection onto the post, umpire playing advantage for a bit of danger, and then Australian defender trying to clear it and hitting his body, the rear ward of the penalty corner.
So if I think back to the South African corner battery last night, again, if I'm going to try and call this one, I think it's going to go back to Posthumus. Let's just have a look at this replay. Yeah, actually a great save by the keeper. Here we go. This is Jarvis on the foot. Jarvis gets the hit. Good save. Oh, there's a lot happening there. Goal for South Africa!
Lots happening. Ivan van der Merwe playing the ball under the goalkeeper, and Winford slotting the ball with an open goal back into the net. South Africa equalize with about 12 minutes left on the clock.
Well, Luke Winford, the boy from Eastern Province, Grey High School, getting the equalizer for South Africa.
I did hear a few shouts from the EP supporters in the. There we see it. Luke Jarvis, first wave running it down, and we see Ivan van der Merwe picking up the ball. His reverse stick shot going past the keeper, and Luke Winford then gladly taking the ball and slotting it with his tomahawk shot into the goals.
I mean, great effort by Iman Smith, the Australian goalkeeper. I mean, he made two saves in that particular corner before the goal eventually went in, and a save before that. So there's only so much a goalkeeper can do.
And again, we talk about that effort that they're all putting in, and in those situations, those players are always going to be putting their bodies on the line. Again, also, you saw one of the defenders pulling back to try and cover that extra ball when the keeper went forward to close Ivan van der Merwe down.
Yep. So this looks like Doan getting his reverse stick shot off. Doan, Michael Doan, the number 3. He's a Queenslander. So Australia still pressing quite full here. Posthumus under a little bit of pressure. Does well to come out. Still in possession.
And there's that turnover that the Aussies have been looking for throughout the game. Michael Doan with a very, very good ball across the field.
And that's Connor Holland winning the long corner. No, free hits it is. That's Murray in possession in the circle. And he wins the PC.
And again, we discussed this at length. I think we discussed it in both games, that as soon as you've conceded a goal, you want to try and keep that ball away from your box as possible. You're trying to get hold of the ball. And South Africa, after they conceded the ball, just somehow not went to sleep, but just got a little bit lazy. And we've noticed it now, but the Aussies coming back and winning a penalty corner.
Yeah, so I think it was well worked by the Australians. I mean, you know, Posthumus received that ball off the 16-yard restart. I think the Aussies encouraged them to come forward, turnover. Doan, who found, I think it was Connor Holland in the corner, and then teaming up with Murray to find the PC. And perhaps maybe Posthumus just needed to hold possession for a bit longer, look to build. But here's the PC. No, umpire Chris Gerber stops time.
Colin Walker that's broken early. This is the second time it's happened. Yesterday it happened as well. So what happens is if a attacker breaks early into the side of the circle, the penalty corner gets rewarded, but that attacker is not allowed to take part further in that particular penalty corner.
But he can be replaced, as he has been.
Yes, that's correct.
So here we go. Oh, slider goal in for Australia. That really looked like a soft goal from up here, AJ. I think South Africa will be disappointed with that defence.
Yeah, Samuel Bell coming in with the a near post slider. There were two players running around that post, and the keeper, I think he might have lost the vision of the ball and just ball sliding into that bottom left and bottom stick side corner. Here we see it again. Samuel Bell on the ball.
Oof. Really simple slider there. Again, I think you can see from Tane Bird's body language, he wasn't too happy with that.
It was a slight bit of hesitation at that moment when he made as he was about to make the save.
So we're 8 minutes from half-time break here, and Australia 2-1 the advantage. Bit of a slip there by Sam Bell. Sometimes always a bit difficult under floodlights. Hit a bit of a shadowy patch. But here comes, looks like
Idris Abdullah.
Idris Abdullah it is. He's got some really handy hands. Good aerial ball. Wins a hit. Well done to Abdullah. This is Conway now who takes the hit. Looking to get a circle entry and a PC upgrade.
PC upgrade. Australia not retreating 5. Everybody's got to be 5 inside that area. And Stephen Conway actually picking it up and targeting that player straight away. Very little clever move for him. And again, this is another good opportunity with 7 minutes to go for South Africa to equalize.
So I think big match temperament says at this level you've got to score at this point. You've just conceded a goal. 2 minutes later, you're in the opposition circle. I think this is a crucial moment for South Africa. So a bit of a change in personnel at the castle. We've got Abdullah on the first castle for South Africa. Marvin Simons looking ready on the wide deflector.
And the Australian team taking too long to put their defensive gear on. It's something that umpires have been managing lately. If the players are taking too long, they get green carded. It's not an uncommon occurrence. And there is sufficient time for each defensive setup to put on the equipment. So umpire laying down that loss early on.
So Conway with the injection. It's gone to Posthumus. And there it is. Goal for Cody Posthumus. South Africa equalise 2-2.
I think, again, big match temperament. Guy like Cody Posthumus has been having a really good game so far yesterday as well. Slots one in the opposite corner, and the Grey High school team will be very happy with that as well. And here we see it again. Posthumus running in. There's the open space over the number 12's head and into the corner.
Did it take a deflection, AJ? I seem to think there was a little bit of a change in movement there, but well done to the Australians and that running that defence with just 3 players. They certainly ran the right lines, but Posthumus' flick better to them.
And while we're chatting, Craig Murray getting a green card for what we think was a tackle, so he's got 2 minutes in the naughty chair. So that means Australia's down to 9 men at the moment.
So Maguire now gets the ball. South Africa were looking to be really stretch the Australians with just the 2 men advantage.
And that's Joshua Finlay on the ball at the moment. Out to Tevin Peterson.
Great
So
ball.
great ball across to Angelo Wallström.
I don't think Wallström was expecting that ball.
I think
Nonetheless.
he was making his way towards the goal box for a little deflection there.
Yeah, so Bell will no doubt looking just to try and slow this down, but he chucks it up. Maguire, turnover for South Africa.
Cody
Out.
Posthumus in open space.
Here's Marvin Simons. Really good hands, as we can see. He's into the circle. Something. Oh, Idris Abdullah, yes! Angelo Wallström slots it home from the 9-yard area in front of the keeper. South Africa take the lead, 3-2.
I think the Australian defence will be a little bit worried by Marvin Simons running into the space. I think at that moment all of them was concerned. After Marvin Simons had beaten the first two players, they were concerned about what he was going to do and left Idris Abdullah. And here we see it, Marvin Simons with some really good hands. And once he had the chance, open, you see Idris Abdullah open and Angelo Wallström there when it went past the keeper to slot it inside the goal box.
Yeah, great team goal by South Africa, and I think using that power play to their advantage while there were an extra 2 men on the field.
And it's those small moments that we're looking for these players to identify and be aware of, and no doubt they were aware of the situation of only playing with 9 players. And again, as we chat, Cody Posthumus on the right-hand side.
Good tackle by Joshua Brooks, not quite coming away with the ball though. Oh, this is Abdullah. In he goes. Good tackle out by Sam Bell. Dewar struggles to find Mapamulo with the aerial ball. Australia breathe again. They're back up to full numbers now. And there are 4 minutes left on the clock.
Just seems like somebody's switched a bit of a button and the players have started getting a little bit more energy and a little bit more urgency. It's another drive down the right-hand channel. South Africa looking. Oh, that's a
Really
good
good ball. Yeah, Josh Brooks looking for the deflection on the inside post there. So here we go. Abdullah with space. Does well. Rounds him.
Abdullah, fortunately losing the ball. Keeper coming in.
I think good piece of umpiring there by Chad Fourie. Abdullah had lost the ball before he had that collision with the goalkeeper. Campbell in space. That's really lazy defending by the Australians. PC.
Again, I'm not too sure the Australians will need to readjust. Here we see Idris Abdullah with a bit of skill, getting open space. He knows exactly wants to pull the keeper a little bit too far, losing the ball. I think if he had kept the ball on his stick there, he would have had a bit more of an argument for a penalty stroke or something a little bit more.
So the home crowd starting to love this. I see the main grandstand's got a bit of a Mexican wave going. Right, 2.5 minutes on the clock. Abdullah and Posthumus up at the top. If I were Coach Devin van der Merwe, I'd be backing my man again.
Especially after the last one that was as accurate as he could get it.
Campbell with the injection to Posthumus. It is again. Good save. Bradford. This is Marvin Simons now. Stick shield, so Australia have the ball.
I think it's something that the Australian team will just have to take a bit of a breather, just string a few passes together, because at the moment they look a bit rattled, and the pace up front is causing trouble for the South African team, or for the Australian defence, sorry.
So Connor Holland winning the free hit there. We're going to see a card here. Just a little bit of ill discipline after the whistle there, hitting the ball away. I think that's
Connor Holland
with
the green card.
So South Africa will be looking now in the final 2 minutes of this game just to probably keep the ball and just wind that clock down. But that's not what we have just hoped for. Commentators curse. So Australia going forward here now with Kyle Wilmot. He finds Josh Brooks, gets the free hits as well. This is Wilmot again. Circle entry and penalty corner.
And ladies and gents, you might be aware that there's about 10 seconds left on the clock on the screen, but we have about 1 minute and 8 seconds left, so we'll keep you abreast as to the last couple of minutes, last couple of seconds for the game. So please don't be alarmed by the time that has run down. We actually have exactly 1 minute to go.
So we just spoke about it, AJ. South Africa just wanting to control the possession in the last minute. And unfortunately now they find themselves facing a penalty corner here. Australia will be really hungry to equalise and take the advantage and equalise going into the half-time break. So here we go with the injection. Wilmot with the variation. Oh, good save.
Coming off the South African stick and a good clearance out wide.
That looked like Tevin Peterson, I think, who made the save in front of his goalkeeper.
We have 13 seconds left on the clock.
Speculative ball across. I think that's probably going to be the half-time break. Right, there it is. The half-time hooter goes 3-2. The South Africans in the lead over the Australians here. And this is the second match in the Paul Creevy Friendship Shield.
Again, looking at the way the last maybe 10 minutes that the game has gone, definitely again, every time if we look at both teams, score goal, a little bit of lacking concentration, conceding a corner, conceding a goal on the opposite side, and it's something that definitely both coaches will be discussing in the game, and definitely something that we're going to see a lot more goals if both teams don't fix that.
Yeah, so 100% AJ. We are going to go live now down to pitch side, and our man on the ground, Jethro Eustace, is standing by with Robin van Ginkel, who is the South African Under-21 women's head coach.
Yeah, thank you. I'm here with Rob van Ginkel, the SA Ladies Under-21 coach. Rob, with the ladies' result yesterday, how do you feel about the process going forward?
Yeah, it was really exciting last night. I think for the girls to get a win on the first game sets them up for the series. I think it's going to be really tough to replicate that. But with good video analysis and a good game plan tonight, I think it's going to be really exciting to see what the girls can do. We played them a couple of years ago and we only managed to draw against Australia. To start with a win is really exciting, and I look forward to see what they can do tonight.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited. I think we've got some special mentions out there. Bianca Wood scored 2 goals. She could be a person that you might have to look at in your squad in the future.
You say that she's already in the squad. That's great. Bianca played in the SA Under-21 side against at IPT this year, Senior Ladies IPT. So Bianca and Edith are both playing in this team that are already in the Under-21 program. So excited to see what they can do tonight.
Any other special names that we can maybe look at?
Yeah, there's a couple. I think unfair to maybe name them and single them out, but just excited to see what they can do. Again, Bianca and Edith have got that experience, and up front I think they're a handful to deal with.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, there we had Rob van Ginkel, South African Under-21 coach, and also actively involved with the men's senior side. Brandon, what conversations are happening inside those team talks at the moment?
So, if I talk about the South Africans for a few minutes, I mean, I know Devin van der Merwe well. I know how he coaches. I think he will be telling his guys to keep going here. I think Devin enjoys a bit of a fast-paced game, and he enjoys taking it to the opposition. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he's almost saying, keep where we're going, keep where we're going. Maybe just to be a little bit more thorough on build-up, keeping a possession a little bit more. Again, I still think South Africa not quite using their midfield to its advantage. It's certainly one of their stronger areas. So maybe there might be a bit of a focus on that. I wouldn't also be surprised, AJ, if Devin van der Merwe comes out from half-time with maybe a little bit of a structural setup. He likes to play 3 at the back at times, so we could see that.
And you were seeing highlights from the first half. We had Craig Murray with a lovely turn. Tane Bird, unfortunately, must have lost the ball in some point. South Africa then from the opposite side.
This was that scuffle goal that Winford, I think, put in again. Yep, that was the South African goal. Luke Winford equalising, and this would have been the...
this is just the replay again, looking the same, the little scrappy area, even van der Merwe then getting into space. Ball going under the keeper, and Winford...
It's great advantage by the umpire there. You could see Chad Fourie had his hands out, but he let the ball play.
And there's that goal that South Africa would be a little bit disappointed on, not dealing with it as well. They're looking for that near post slider, not getting the touch and going straight through.
Yeah, Sam Bell, nice simple slider to find the backboards. And this would have been Posthumous's goal when Australia were down one defender, but quality flick. Whether you had 4 defenders or not there, that was Galwood's all the time.
You can watch the goalkeeper. The keeper was watching that ball go straight in because I think he was a little bit too far away to try and make that save. And you see silky hands by Marvin Simons, all the defenders just watching him, and then Idris Abdullah coming across, and Angelo Wallström with an open goal, putting the ball in the back of the net.
So it's something that Jethro and I were talking about during this game, was just South Africa needing to be better inside the 9-yard area of the circle, and they've done it tonight. 2 goals coming from rebounds, awareness inside the circle, and for the many young under-16 players watching this game tonight, there's some lessons to be taken out of that.
I also think if we look at the Australian side, I think they've definitely got to tighten up at the back. There's too much open space being given to the likes of Angelo Wallström, Jared Campbell. Again, if you look in front of the goalkeeper's doing everything he can, but unfortunately he's got 2 open South African players in front of him. So it's something that the Australian team will have to sort out very quickly, because as we can see, the South African forwards are really, really hungry.
Yeah, I think a spot on, AJ. There's always, you know, that baseline's always been open, and it's a bit of a flavour of the South African game. You know, South African schools around the country, a lot of the coaches like to attack that right-hand baseline. They like to have space behind the defender, and the Australians just giving a little bit too much of that at the moment. So we can see the South African goalkeeper, well, just off screen now, but Sishlen Kongo, he's being warmed up by Richard Curtis, one of the South African goalkeepers. Really great to see that. Some of the international players giving back.
Yeah, it's very good to see that knowledge coming in. Again, if you look at the crowd, it's not as cold as we expected it to be, and everybody's out. There's, just to remind you, at the moment, it's the Under-16 Iwise Hockey Nationals happening in Pietermaritzburg. The boys' first time that at Under-16 level we're having the boys and girls together. And to have an international happening for 3 nights during this tournament is golden for these players. Because in 2 years' time, if all goes well, that we have the Australians back, this is the group of players that are going to be part of that South African Under-18 side.
100%, AJ. And I had the opportunity to speak at the opening ceremony of the Under-16 National Tournament on Friday night last week, I think it was. And that's the one thing I said to these young players. You're going to watch these internationals during the course of the week, and in 2 years' time, this could be you. I mean, what more of a carrot could you dangle in front of a young player?
And we're having some more comments coming through. Stuart Kappen saying, good first half, SA, keep it up, boys, especially Cody, keep it up, boy. So that must be from that. Stuart must be from PE, where we think. Thank you, Stuart, for your comment on the YouTube channel. Ivan van der Merwe rocking, rock solid defense. Thank you, Gronum Smith.
Yeah, Gronum, I must agree with you there. Ivan van der Merwe is certainly a personal pick of mine. I'm really enjoying watching him play.
So just a reminder, if wherever you are around the world, if you're watching this live stream, please let us know where you are. Send us your messages, send us your pictures. If you're sitting in Australia and it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, send us your photos. Hashtag SSL Hockey. We'll read it out. It will be really good for these players to hear these. We'll be reading it out during the game as well. So send your messages of support. Let us know where you are. It's really cool to see the messages. Andre Becker again giving Ivan van der Merwe, Neil Roth, if we can say, supporting from Paul Roos Gymnasium out in Southern. Hi Jaden, up the Aussies. That's from It's Cryptic. That's quite a cryptic name.
Yeah.
Thank you, It's Cryptic. Jaden Atkinson, referring to Jaden Atkinson, will also have quite a busy game so far. So keep them coming. The crowds are definitely filling up quite nicely. Remind you that we have the girls Under-18 game in exactly an hour's time. So please, once this game is done, do not disappear. Stay in front of your computer, stay in front of your TV, keep the live stream going, because there's another match, and that's also going to be an exciting affair. And we'll have a good discussion before that game. But before that, we have 35 minutes of what is going to look like a really exciting and cracking, if we could put it toward second half.
Yeah, well, there we are. Umpire's whistle has got us underway. I must say, you were mentioning the atmosphere around this ground. The teams from the tournament locally have started to come in. And I must say, AJ, from our commentary position, we're right next to the brass stand, or as the Australians would call the barbecue stand. And I don't know if I'm going to last 35 minutes. I might have to go and get myself some dinner.
Well, hopefully if somebody is watching this from the braai stand, they could bring us something up here. We might not do too much commentary. But yes, we're looking forward to it. Again, the atmosphere is really good. And I think a lot of people were talking about it this morning, throughout the day, how the atmosphere was really good. And here we have Australia attacking down the left-hand side. Carlin Walker. Again, Cody Posthumus had seen a lot of the ball today.
That's Peter Jarvis. Okay, well, he stepped off. He found himself quite deep in the field. So Posthumus now on the ball for South Africa. Again, goes with that overhead. He throws them with such ease. Great receive by Jarvis inside the circle. Oh! Goalmouth spats, but what a pairing up between Posthumus and Jarvis.
I think it's the two Eastern Cape, the PE Grahamstown connection that's coming through there. Again, spent a lot of time. There was a lot of those aerial balls at the national tournament that happened 2 weeks ago. And again, it's those little combinations that you find in these national teams. If we look, quite a few boys from South Africa, from groups of provinces. Again, the same in the Australian team. Some boys from New South Wales, some boys from Queensland, some boys from Victoria. And again, you'll see those combinations working throughout the day.
We just see that receive by Jarvis on the replay. Oh, was that Idris Abdullah?
No, I think that was
Luke
Winford. Another Eastern Province player.
So that was the all EP show. So everyone in the Eastern Province down the east coast of South Africa would have been happy with that Eastern Province trio there. So Australia win these free out there. Is that Murray on the ball?
I think
no,
that's
Jay
McDonald.
Jay McDonald.
And there's Jaden Atkinson from It's Cryptic that sent him a message earlier.
Oh, a bit of a pull there. Atkinson would have been looking to get that on his reverse stick at the top of the circle. Here comes Conway for South Africa. He opens up to find Jared Campbell again. Look at the space that we were speaking about during the halftime break, AJ.
Again, the Australians have to fix that before the end of this game if they would like to get a win from this or even come back with an equalizer. Again, those players, we spoke about the pace, we spoke about the speed and the skill ability from those players. And there we see it.
Advantage being played here for the Australians. Out they come now. There's Murray. Drops it out to Kai Wilmot.
Cooper Johnson, 2:30 a.m. Let's go, Nathan. 2:30 a.m. here, bro. Win the game. Rifilo, if I'm pronouncing Lotoko, go SA, loving Naki. Australia into the circle. Good save.
So Murray making himself busy. Was that Murray?
Ethan Murray, keep up the good work, Peter Jarvis.
Yeah, this is Murray. He's got the aerial ball. He's going to get the hit from this. Although the umpire not giving it to him. Playing into the circle. Tevin Peterson looking for the ball. He's going to take this quickly, Murray. Finds Doan. Murray on the baseline.
Good tackle by
finding a foot.
Good tackle there by Joshua Finley. The man from Southern Gauteng. King Edward VII School.
Right, here's Maguire for South Africa. He finds Peterson in space.
Again, Craig Murray finding himself with very busy getting the ball, working hard in defense.
Oh, bit of an error by Peterson. Straight out from the free hit. Yeah, well, Murray will certainly go down as one of the picks for me from this Australian setup. He'll be an exciting one to watch for the future.
Peterson with a pickup.
Speculative ball, trying to find Jarvis. Jarvis not quite on his bicycle to get onto the end of that.
I see Peterson have been. There's a couple of balls that he's been given across that he's looked for those forwards to move into that space, and he's yet to find a striker that has read that ball that's coming in. That's Kai Wilmot driving down the middle.
Really good job by Wilmot. Oh, a penalty stroke.
Yeah, I think if you look at that, he's driven all the way through, and South Africa panicking that they haven't picked it up. And the last, just before he reached the goal, a little stick tackle, and in that position, as you can see him driving through the middle here, player after player missing the ball, coming inside, and then that tackle from Joshua Finley deemed illegal by the umpire, and in that situation, it's given a penalty stroke as it's a breakdown play.
Yeah, and I think umpire Chad Free's got that call right, a very mature blow, and a great opportunity now inside the first 5 minutes for Australia to draw level. This is Kai Wilmot on the penalty spot.
And Kai Wilmot equalizes for Australia, and that's something that they've been looking for. Again, caused a little bit of problems for South Africa in defense. South Africa panicking a little bit, not making the tackle outside the 25 initially, and then not outside the circle. And that tackle by Joshua Finley leading towards that end. 3-3, and only 6 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, so Sishen Kongo, the South African goalkeeper, he saved the penalty stroke in the same goal last night. But as you can see here on the replay, he didn't quite judge that one this evening, and an easy one for Kyle Wilmot to put away and find the equaliser. So a yellow card here for, that looks like Josh Brooks from Australia. So South Africa going to have a man advantage for the next 5 minutes. Again, the two in the fro of the action.
Yeah.
You know, goal up front, card on the other side, and let's see what South Africa can do here.
I think this game is reaching a point where the team that just needs to take control of a situation. Again, Australia have just equalized, but now they're a man down, and it's the team that's going to take control that's going to end up winning this. And at the moment, none of the teams have taken control of these golden opportunities to move ahead in the game.
Yeah, certainly you're right, AJ. And here, Australia defending very deep in their circle. Obviously, we're going to see now for 5 minutes with that man in the sin bin that the Australians are really going to be putting as many numbers behind the ball as they can. So here's Muguera now. He's going to move it round to Van der Merwe. He's got a few options on either side of him. This ball's definitely going to go to Peterson, and it does. But the Australians are well out. A little bit more aggressive now as the ball's going back. Van der Merwe. He finds Andre Bradford, who sends it back around. The Australians really stepping well as a unit here in defence. And Van der Merwe is going to find Bradford again, see if they can penetrate on that far side. Good defending again by the Australians. Let's see what Muguera can do.
We're holding some good space in midfield at the moment.
Here goes Peterson in. He finds Conway. Let's see if he can do anything here. Well defended by the Australians. Long corner.
I think that's Campbell Geddes. Again, holding Australia holding some good space, and you'll probably see them stepping up in numbers now. Guerrero with the ball. Out to Van der Merwe. He's looking for a big ball in midfield. He finds Cody Posthumus high up on the right-hand side. Good tackle from the Australian team. Easing the pressure a little bit on the Australians. They're going to try and kill time a little bit until that card comes back on the field.
Yeah, there must be a good 2.5 minutes still in that card, but here the Australians go forward. That's well picked up.
It looks like Miles Davies. Yep.
So Davies arcs around.
Finds Jaden Atkinson.
Oh, it's good stick work by Atkinson. Finds the foot of Finlay. Interesting variation, free hit there. Well defended by South Africa.
Some really good
hands replay of that one. Sorry, AJ. Be interesting to see the replay of that one. I'm not quite sure whether Australia were far, but here's Jarvis. Oh, What a ball that would have been there, but umpire Chris Gerber, perhaps maybe a backstick?
It's either backstick or lifted dangerously is the call from that side. From the sounds of it, it looked like it's lifted dangerously. And here we see Stephen Conway on the ball, looking to find in that open space. Yeah, dangerous, lifted dangerously into that space. As you see, Campbell Geddes had to evade when the ball came towards him. Australia with the ball in midfield.
So the crowd's starting to liven up now. There goes another Mexican wave, just as Tevin Peterson picks up the ball on that crowd side.
Ivan van der Merwe with the ball. Did not find an outlet on his left-hand side. Back to Maguire on the right-hand side of the field. Looking to find Idris Abdullah. Unfortunately, ball going outside over the line. Just a tweet that has come in from Lexi2909. Want to see another flick from Cam tonight? Watching from the USA. Thank you, Lexi. I think there's a lot of Australians and neutral supporters that would like to see Cam scoring a flick tonight. It will probably definitely come in handy if we see a penalty corner soon. As we see South Africa with the ball inside the 25, inside the circle. Well dealt with by the Australian goalkeeper.
So Dewar there finds Van der Merwe, who's now found him on the outside. There's Peterson on the baseline. South Africa really doing well to just get that basket around the back and get those outside halves really high up the line.
And again, we reminded that Australia are still playing with a man down. There was a yellow card earlier, and he should be back in about a minute or two's time.
So here's Dewar, who's now found himself at centre back for South Africa. Ivan van der Merwe just fumbling a bit on the receive there, a bit of a tricky ball.
And Australia are now back to full numbers, 11 v 11. We'll see what they can do with that extra forward coming back on the field.
So Australia going forward.
This is Miles Davies.
Finds Brooks, but then turned over. Good defending by the captain, Matt Dewar. Here goes Marvin Simons forward now for South Africa. Using those hands to his advantage. Good change of angle.
And a good tackle there by Samuel Bell. A little bit more direct from Australia now. Just looking to hold on to the ball, trying to get more position, just get a little bit comfortable. They've gone back to 11 men. Trying to create some sort of momentum.
That's Wilmot now on the ball. He's driving hard again. He was the one who set up that goal just now. It's a great tackle by Matt Dewar. And South Africa breathe with Maguire. He manages to find Abdullah, but no, he loses possession. Wilmot again, winning the free hit. Wilmot takes it quickly. Great little shimmy, if you want to call it that.
Oh, ball played in by Miles Davies.
Yeah, Connor Holland on the receiving end of that. Great awareness inside the circle, but his shot just going slightly wide.
Cody Posthumus back on the ball. Maguire with the ball on the left. Tevin Peterson. Back to Cody Posthumus. South Africa using the width of the field nicely. Now the overhead into space, looking for Ivan van der Merwe. Ivan van der Merwe, unfortunately not 5. Got to give the defender space in that area. And straight away, Australia back onto the attack.
This is Josh Brooks now in possession. Doing well to get the ball into the circle. Just a bit of a nudge on Maguire. It says umpire Chad Fourie. Here's Posthumus again. He finds Volstrom, who's come quite high to receive. Volstrom looking to turn inside. He's going to 1-2 with Abdullah. Doesn't quite get the ball away. Turnover. I think that's Wilmot. Wilmot driving hard again. Wins the free hold of the South African foot. Overhead into the circle.
Trying to look for Colin Walker in that space, but again, umpire deems it dangerous. There's too many players under the ball. and free it out to South Africa. Jared Campbell on the ball. Good pickup. Again, hunting impacts with the Australians. Idris Abdullah with the ball down the right-hand baseline. Playing the ball inside, advantage by the umpire. Penalty corner to the South Africans. Again, some good work down that right-hand channel. Again, we spoke about it countless amount of times. Too much space being given, especially to the outside midfielders and the forwards. And again, South Africa now have another opportunity to take the lead.
Yeah, so 21 minutes left in this half. A prime opportunity here for South Africa. Let's see what they can do from this corner. All of their main corner battery team are on. Peter Jarvis is there. Cody Posthumus. Both of them immediately lining up. It'd be interesting to see. We haven't seen much variation from South Africa in the corners.
No, we haven't. But when you have a drag flick like Cody Posthumus, I think they might stick to that.
There's Campbell, the injection. Went to Posthumus's castle, but the fumble, and Australia counter-attack through Doan. There's Craig Murray high with the ball.
Looking to find Colin Walker in midfield.
Ball in.
Umpire stop time. I think somebody's had something to say to the umpire there.
So Chad Fourie looking for someone there. No, looks like the card's gone.
I think so. So the card has gone to Matt Dewar. As the counter-attack happened, Matt Dewar stuck his stick in. He wasn't fired. It was a breakdown tackle. I think they can take their picks. And now South Africa's got to play without a man for a few minutes.
And here we go. Space to shoot. Oh, just hitting the side netting. So close for Kyle Wilmot. He's really proving dangerous for Australia tonight. He's really come alive in the last 15 minutes.
And again, if we put it the opposite way, he's a player that you shouldn't be given space. Again, lots of pressure put on by the Australians. Looking to go direct once they've received the ball.
That was Bell distributing outside.
That's Miles Davies on the ball. With a bit of a loose pass, Cody Posthumus picking it up. Into space to is that Marvin Simmons?
Marvin Simons it is, yeah.
Inside to Idris Abdullah. With some nice pace by Idris Abdullah. Now he's got to look to pass. Samuel Bell, who's been at the right place at the right time for Australian defense. Jared Campbell playing it out. South Africa looking just to build a little bit momentum. Some patience around the back. Neil Roth, haven't seen too much of him in this game yet, but he's on the field at the moment playing in defense. And Australia looking to counter.
Right, the overhead easily won by Roth. He's now playing next to his Paul Roos gym teammate, Ivan van der Merwe. Both boys hail from Stellenbosch. Lovely part of the country, Stellenbosch. Close to home for you, AJ.
Close to home for me. University town, an area that obviously, because it's a university town, a lot of people from different parts of the country, and a popular place for a lot of students to go down. And again, the culture of sport in just that small town is really nice to be part of. You've got Renish, Bloemhof, Paul Roos, all top sporting schools, and on a normal Saturday morning, it's really exciting to be there and feeling the buzz of those rugby, hockey derbies that happens in the town.
So good turnover here by Australia. This looks like Maria going forward. Oh, opportunity there for Kyle Wilmot, I think.
I think that's Colin Walker. I think they both got the nice bushy, long, dark black hair.
It's a good turnover. Good ball through. Just a bit of ball watching, I think, from the South Africans. And as you say, Colin Walker not quite on the receiving end of that one. You know, going back to Boland, AJ, I hear it's also a great place for a bit of fermented grape juice.
We've chatted to some of the Australian supporters.
Yes, Marais.
Oh, Marais just slightly taking a shot, losing angle a little bit. Dan, the rugby fan, today a rugby fan became a hockey fan again. Great game, go SA. Thank you, Dan. We love to see some supporters from other sports. Sally Masala, go SA, and Aussies, you're doing both so well. Keep it up. We're not sure who she's supporting, but thank you very much. Great bit of skill by Jaden. We agree. Keep it up, buddy. Kai Stonehouse on our YouTube channel. Again, keep those messages coming, folks. They really good to read them out and to get them out to the players.
So Australia off their 16-yard line here, going forward. That's Wilmot. Looks forward, finds Walker. This
Caleb
is
Christensen.
Caleb Christensen. Haven't seen too much of him tonight.
No, he's got the ball in a few spaces, and yeah, he was finding himself on the left-hand side of the field quite a bit. Here we see Kyle,
Yes,
Kyle
Willott
Walker
on the
again.
ball.
And that's hits the foot of Ivan van der Merwe, and Australia now have a penalty corner. We've got 16 minutes to go on the stadium clock. Nice time to try and take the lead here.
So AJ, Australia definitely starting to, I think, shift the gear here in this game. They've had the better of the last 10 minutes. They've had the better of the opportunities in that as well. And they just seem to be controlling possession, which is what we spoke about in the first half, which was really, I suppose, lacking from both teams, to be honest. Even though we've seen a lot of goals here, a lot of it's come from fast counter-attacking hockey, a lot of frenetic stuff in the circle. But the Australians just starting to take hold of that possession. Here's Brooks on the injection. Ooh. Bit of a miscue, I think, from Campbell Geddes there, and I think even the defender was taken by surprise as it rolled into his foot.
I think he's very lucky that he's now got a second chance at giving this. I mean, he is their drag flicker, and I think they'll probably give him a second go at this.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he put that polished flick into the net last night, so I'm backing Geddes to get the ball here again tonight. Brooks with the injection for Australia.
Look like he's setting up for. But misplaced.
It's Kyle Willott on the ball. Ball going across. Australia keeping possession.
Again, this is an opportunity for South Africa where they have to now draw in some of that pressure, get used to playing without the ball, because Australia is having a little bit of a purple patch at the moment, and South Africa's just got to hold their own and just make sure that they hold their spaces and don't get flustered by not having the ball, not having possession like they've enjoyed throughout most of the game.
Oh, great turnover, Idris Abdullah. He's got one Australian to beat. Jay McDonald in there. Abdullah does well, but equal to the task is the Australian defender. I think that was Jay McDonald who cleared the ball.
Good tracking back from Jay McDonald, and again with a nice clean tackle on outside the circle, something we haven't seen much of from both defenses, and good defense. And as we speak, Australia then take counter-attack the opposite side, stick tackle on Ivan van der Merwe, and it's a hit out to South Africa. Again, it's a chance now, like we spoke about it earlier. South Africa's been under pressure for the last good 8 to 10 minutes. Now time to just try and get the ball, move it around, get the midfielders getting it. And just building, again, we use the word momentum again, but momentum shifted so much throughout this game. Cody Posthumus on the ball. Ivan van der Merwe. Slight overlap.
Yeah, there's the cut coming from Australia in that press. Campbell has to play out to Dewar, who drops back out to Posthumus. Screens through the middle of the field. Turnover. That's Kyle Willott. Josh Brooks on the ball. Good turn. He's going to come in, get a circle entry.
Sound defense there by the South Africans. Doan winning that free hit.
Doan puts Brooks onto the ball. Roth does well there just to keep Brooks at bay. Wins the 16 out for his team. South Africa seem to be playing what looks like a bit of a 4-4-2 shape here with a bit of a diamond in the midfield. Saw the two sort of infield blockers quite split. Stephen Conway has a bit of a drop forward. But here goes Kyle Willott again. Kyle Willott will certainly, I think, be catching the eye of the player of the match selectors tonight.
Yeah, especially in the second half. I mean, he had a quiet first half, but in the second half, he's taken the game by the scruff of his neck, and he's really added some impetus up front, which Australia needed. Started putting the South African defense under lots and lots of pressure, and it showed with that penalty stroke that was given and the equaliser that Australia scored.
Yeah, 100%. South Africa just squandering a good attacking opportunity there. Bradford not quite taking the ball 5 yards. But here, Australia came forward again, but no one able to get onto the end of that. Maguire will have the side hit. We are 11 minutes from full time here.
And again, we stand at 3-3. Are we going to see some late goals like we did in the last 2 minutes of the game, or last minute of the game yesterday? Only time will tell. Cody Posthumus up front. Jared Campbell on the ball, one of those midfield blockers we were talking about.
Campbell doesn't quite keep it in, and here come Australia forward now.
Connor Holland winning the free hit. Some changes made there on the side by the Australian team.
Here comes Miles Davis. He's got Posthumus at bay. This is Doan, the captain. I think advantage being played there. I think Doan was probably hoping for a foot.
Yeah, he played it a little bit into space and then ran into the South African player. Again, there's a time stop for the umpire. Just a minor stoppage, back to our normal time. Ivan van der Merwe on the ball. Maguire, back to Ivan van der Merwe.
So South Africa keeping it quite narrow in the midfield there.
Tevin Peterson with a wonderful ball.
Great ball.
Straight into the circle. Got Luke Winford, unfortunately lost control of the ball there, but again, Tevin Peterson finding those, trying to look for those long balls, and finally he finds a forward up front that he's been looking for all day.
Yeah, I think Tevin Peterson is a class act for South Africa. Hails from Cape Town in the Western Province, and I think he's going to be an exciting one to watch going forward, AJ. Really robust right back, strong, and as we saw now, quality distributive skills.
Against Africa, trying to look for a patient build-up. Australia trying to box them into one corner. There's the cut coming from Australia.
Oh, this is going to find Abdullah. Good ball there from Maguire. I noticed those South African forwards were holding quite narrow towards the top of the circle, leading out from that. Good ploy from them and certainly finding their targets there, but not quite finding the circle entry they would have been looking for from what was otherwise a really good ball forward.
And I think with that, earlier in the game, they were playing quite wide, and it just seems like they weren't getting any ball at that stage. It was slightly flat, and now you can see Maguire. And here we see an overhead into space, Australia driving into the circle.
Elias Fernandez, the man on the ball there, but not quite getting it away. He was well managed by Peterson. But here they come again.
Another
options forward. This is Marais on the reverse stick. Saved by Ngongo, picked up by Maguire.
And a bit of a lazy tackle there from Craig Marais. He should just hold into that space, put the play under pressure and try and win it again. And that's a green card to Craig Marais. Another one where I haven't counted the cards, but they've had a few. And again, back to 10 men with what looks like about 8 minutes to play. South Africa, patient build-up, trying to look for the open space. Lots of movement in midfield. Ivan van der Merwe on the ball.
There's Tevin Peterson with the ball in. Oh, goal for South Africa. What a touch. It's that man, Peter Jarvis, again in the 9-yard area with the subtle deflection.
And again, man down. Tevin Peterson, who's been giving those balls to the forward, finally gets one, gets the assist. With Peter Jarvis with the ball with a little deft touch over the keeper. And South Africa take 4-3 lead. And again, a moment where they've identified, it's the second time they've scored with men off the field. And they're 4-3 up. And straight away, Australia with Kai Wilmot straight onto the attack.
Some tough defending there. Neil Roth just able to get the ball. But here's Jarvis going forward. He loses control. Bit of a foul there. We're going to see a card here. Bit of a lazy tackle from Jarvis whilst on the ground. He's off for what looks like it will be almost the rest of this game. Just 7 minutes on the clock. So he'll spend 5 of those in the sin bin. Australia not able to capitalise. In fact, I see umpire Chris Haber signalling 10 minutes to the technical table. So that is Peter Jarvis done for the night, and South Africa will play the rest of the game with 10 men. Some people watching might think a bit of a harsh card there, but certainly FIH and the umpire section of the World Governing Body not taking any chances anymore, especially in youth hockey, with dangerous tackles with players on the ground.
And I think we're seeing it in not just hockey, but we're seeing it in rugby as well. We're seeing it in a lot of other contact sports where the governing bodies of those various sports are trying to protect the players, trying to protect the skill of the players, and there's no doubt that the umpires have obviously caught onto that, and Jarvis obviously deserves the card based on the rules. Here we see Tevin Peterson with a wonderful ball inside, little touch. And Peter Jarvis, unfortunately, the man that's just received the 10-minute yellow, putting South Africa 4-3 ahead.
Maybe his coach will forgive him. Right, here's Australia now with space going forward. That's Jaden Atkinson doing well there. Here we go, Jaden Atkinson. He's being managed by Volstrom, but he manages to get through. Good tackle by Neil Roth, who's away for South Africa. Bradford not quite able to hold on. The whistle's going to go here. Australia get the free hit. Here comes Atkinson again. He's going to look to connect with his captain, Doan. And South Africa defending deep in their own 23 here, but Australia doing well to find the space.
Penalty stroke to Australia. Again, Tevin Peterson making a tackle. And another yellow card. It is going down onto his body. And with consistency, with Chris Farber giving the card on the other side. Here we see a replay. It's Joshua Henderson driving down that side. And he runs in it. It is a very lazy tackle coming in from Tevin Peterson from that space. And I think he's going to be off for there's 5 minutes and 13 seconds of clock, and I think he might be seeing himself on the side for the next while.
Well, that's South Africa now down to 9 players for the rest of this game. And there it is. Australia equalise from the penalty stroke. Kyle Willott, he's been really good for Australia tonight. He puts them in the lead. I think South Africa will be disappointed with themselves. AJ, I don't know, you've umpired at quite a high level in South Africa. Would you have agreed with that penalty corner? Penalty stroke, bit of a body check. Was it perhaps a PC? Did the umpire get it right?
I think in that situation, if you look at where Tevin Peterson is coming from, he does not look like he was going to get the ball. I think also with the way that the umpires have been blown, the game, they've been consistent, and I really think it was a bit of a clumsy challenge. And in that situation, with the way he's moved forward, I agree with the umpire, and that says that penalty stroke is probably the correct decision in that case.
So Australia have just received a yellow card as well. So there are now 3 players, 2 from South Africa and 1 Australian in the sin bin at the moment. The tech table will have their hands full keeping time on all these cards. But here come Australia through Simons.
It's a clash of bodies inside. I think that was Samuel Bell that came across. I did notice that he did get the stick, get the ball, and then there was a clash of bodies directly after that.
So we're inside the last 5 minutes here. South Africa win a foot. Going forward here with Finlay. He plays out to Posthumus. Bradford with the turnover for South Africa. And wins the free hit with the foot. This is going to be a frantic few minutes here in the finish. Let's see if either of these two teams could find an advantage and clinch this game. Otherwise, we'll see the second draw in the second consecutive games. This is Van der Merwe now. He plays into Mapamulo.
Just a reminder, your clock is about to run down on the YouTube feed, but there is 3 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock. There's been multiple stoppages for cards, for the 2 penalty strokes. So we'll keep you posted as to the time exactly, but at the moment it's 3 minutes 35 seconds to go.
And here's South Africa going forward, or opting to drop the ball out as Van der Merwe. Bradford now receives on the sideline. South Africa trying to find space to penetrate here. They do. Is that Marvin Simons? No, it's Abdullah on the baseline. Really good positioning. PC. Australia really desperately trying to defend a really good baseline entry by Abdullah and finding the foot and gives South Africa the opportunity.
Yeah, umpire Chris Cater was showing there, as soon as Idris Abdullah was running across, keeper came in. And I think if we have a look at this again, Idris Abdullah, again, some good advantage played with the umpire, and he plays the ball into the keeper, and it comes off the keeper and onto Nathan Sisner's foot. It's a penalty corner with 2 minutes 48 seconds on the clock. Golden opportunity to go 5-4 up here.
Right, let's see what South Africa can do with this. Obviously a bit of a changed personnel with Jarvis off the field, but Posthumus on castle number 2. Here comes Campbell with the injection. It goes to Posthumus. Great save.
That is an absolutely wonderful save, and again he needed that save at that point, and that's what you want from your goalkeepers with 2 minutes. I mean, you want them to save all of them, but I mean, saves like that is really special towards the end of the game now.
Yeah, that's standing up in the big moments, AJ.
Yeah, that big match temperament that you alluded to early in the game.
So here's Bradford now on the ball for South Africa, building with his fellow centre back Van der Merwe, just looking speculatively to see where they can cut through here. South Africa, that's Mapamulo on the ball now. Nothing, goes back out to Bradford. A lot of space opening up here if they can get the ball across quick enough. Van der Merwe on that outside flank. He's got space ahead of him.
Again, Bradford on the ball. A little one touch into space. There's Jared Campbell on the right hand side. He's going to look to use his skill. That's a good tackle there by Jay McDonald, the man from Radford College. And here's the penalty corner again. Look at that save. Great stick save. Bottom right corner there. Bradford on the ball. Cody Posthumus. We have 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. Space down the right hand side. Lots of space for Australia.
And Elias Fernandez not quite finding it.
And Ivan van der Merwe coming through, the man that you've spoken about that really stood out in defense for the South African team.
Jared Campbell pressing forward, trying hard to win that ball back in the dying seconds of this game. 30 seconds left to go. Australia come forward here. Good interception by Abdullah, keeping possession of the ball.
Looking for Jared Campbell in midfield, unfortunately losing it. Elias Fernandez.
20 seconds left. Australia still in possession. Can they salvage something here? Mapamulo with the interception, going forward for South Africa. 50-50 ball forward. Finlay comes up. 2 seconds. This is the game. It's going to end in a draw. There is the hooter. 4-4.
Again, if we think about it, that 4-4 is probably the most appropriate score if we're looking at this game. And just before, we didn't have time because there was a lot happening. The man of the match who we spoke about, he stood out in that second half and really stepped up for his team. Man of the match for this game is the man you see on the screen, number 15, Kai Willett. So well done to Kai Willett. There you see him, really stood up. did what he needed to for his team, created the goal, the goal for the penalty stroke, ended up taking. So well done to Kai Willett. I had a chat with him yesterday, and here's this penalty stroke that he scored, almost being saved by the keeper. But again, we had a good chat, and he's done well, really well this game.
Yeah, Carl Willett was a game changer for Australia. Really made things tricky for the for the South Africans at one point. AJ, 4-4. We've seen 8 goals tonight. It was 3-3 last night. 6-8. That's 14. I'd hate to get it wrong on live TV. 14 goals in 2 games. I'm going to say one thing here. I don't care what anyone says to me, but I've watched. This is now the 4th of these series between South Africa and Australia schools, and this is the best that I've ever seen in the hockey, and the best result. It's competitive, it's even, it's 2 teams having a good full go at each other. It's marvelous stuff.
I think there's nothing more as a spectator and a neutral watching this and seeing the battles that are happening on the field, the intensity brought out by both teams. It's really special to see, and like you say, seeing so many goals being scored in 2 games is nothing better that you could ask for. Obviously, the defensive coaches on either side will be scratching their heads tonight, but it was a spectacle for the spectators, and it's something that we've, like you say, it's the best you've seen. And then we see Wendell Domingo, president of South African Schools Hockey, handing over that Player of the Match award. But wow, that last couple of minutes was really exciting.
Yeah, it's been some good hockey, AJ. And as I say, we've been critical at points, but the one thing that we can say is that we've seen players going forward. We've been seeing players taking opportunities, and that's where the international game is going. So it's really great to see the young players, the future, taking the opportunities and really bringing the international brand that the FIH is trying to promote in world hockey. It's a hockey revolution, and I'm telling you now, if you ask me, we've seen part of the hockey revolution on this pitch here in the last 2 nights.
Yeah, it's been really good to see. One last question. If there is a team that is disappointed that they missed an opportunity today to win this game, who do you reckon that team is today? If there is a team.
I'm going to say Australia, AJ. I'm sorry, South Africa. My apologies. I'm going to say South Africa, AJ. Only reason I'm going to call that is I just think they would have enjoyed to do more with the penalty corner count that they had. They definitely had the lion's share of the penalty corners. And as a coach, when you look at a scoreboard that's a draw, you're going to go down to your set pieces and say, could we have made those count more?
And I think to add that, having so many Australian players off the field with cards, it's also an opportunity that in a game that is so tight, that you've got to take the opportunity of having that man down on the field. So ladies and gents, we're just going to hand over to Jethro Eustace. He's got Scott Smith with him. Let's hear what they have to say.
I'm with the Australian men's under 18 boys coach. How did you feel that game went, Scott?
Look, it's played with a sensational energy. Both teams bring a huge energy to the field, and they bring a huge amount of ball speed. And look, we're just really excited about tomorrow. That's what the series is all about.
Yes. Series decider tomorrow. Yeah, sorry I interrupted you there, but series decider would be a great game tomorrow. So with the energy, and it's been 4-all and 3-all in the game already, I think we're going to see a high anticipating game with lots of goals again.
Absolutely, we will. The Australians know no other way than to attack. So that's what we'll bring to the game again tomorrow.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for the game. All the best.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jim.
I think we see some of the highlights again. So that's it. It's been a great game. Another draw. We're looking forward to a cracker tomorrow. Brandon Swart, thank you for joining us tonight.
Always a pleasure, AJ. Lovely to share the commentary box with you. And don't go away. The girls' game's coming up. Just change the link on your stream. Cindy Hack has just arrived to take over the comm box. You're in good hands. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, from where you are all over the world. We'll see you tomorrow.